Let's talk about Font Awesome. FontAwesome.com. Now, this is version 5, which did change some things, but get vector icons and social logos on your website with Font Awesome, the web's most popular icon set and toolkit. So here's the idea, at least around older versions of Font Awesome. It's a font with icons in it. The idea is fonts are vector images. You know the difference between vector and bitmap? So bitmaps are made up of pixels. Vectors are made up of math. So it describes the shape of something. And the nice thing about them is they're resolution independent. No matter how far you zoomed in, a vector image is going to retain its clarity. SVGs are vectors too. That quill icon, no matter how big it gets, you're never going to start to see, in fact, now it just won't even get any bigger, but you're never going to start to see pixels around the edge. You're not going to see jagged edges. So they're made of math instead of pixels. And fonts are that way too. No matter how big you make a font, unless it was designed to be blocky, you're not going to see it start to be blocky, right? It's just going to get easier to read. It's going to look even crisper. So before SVG was widely supported, one way to do this on the web to get vector icons was to use a font. And Font Awesome is the most popular of those. So what it does is this font that it includes has all these icons up in Unicode space that are not used for any letters or emoji or anything. It's just way, way out there in unused space. So how do we use it? If you include their style sheet, then what you can do is use I elements. I was one of the proprietary elements that Netscape added way back in like 94. Actually, I think Mosaic added it before Netscape. And they meant it to mean italics. But italics is presentation related, and we don't like putting that in HTML. They should have used EM for emphasis. That's what we use now if we want italics. So I is a semantically meaningless but valid HTML element. So they just co-opted that to use it for icons. Why not? So you use an I element with nothing in it, and you give it a particular class name. FA, and this is different in the new version, I believe. But FA, the rule for that, tells it, among other things, to use the Font Awesome font for this thing. FA dash, and then the name of a particular icon tells it which glyph to use from that font. So again, these are Unicode characters that are untypable. So there's actually a CSS rule that adds that character just before your I. So if we look at this, if we inspect it, there we are. It's this thing down here. Our button has one in it. So there's the I. So you see FA, display inline block, font awesome, and some other stuff. And that class for FA sign out, we can't see what it's doing because it's actually using another little trick here. If we expand the I thing, we see : before. So that's called a pseudo element. And exactly how it works is kind of beyond the scope of the class. But you'll see FA sign out before, content, and then some Unicode character. So the class FA sign out is telling it which character out of that font to use, which is some untypable Unicode character. So that's how it works. For us, all we need to know is we can stick class of FA and then another class telling it which icon, and it works. And it's awesome. And it's a font. Font Awesome. Questions? We're going to use it some more.